bit about my background, where I have started, and where I am today. I was born and raised in India, in a small coastal town. Went to school. I finished my first master's in India, then moved to US. But a little bit about my family and where I come from. As I said, a very small place. I went to school outside and got married when I was in college in the undergrad years. Did my master's after marriage. Had my first child during my first year of master's, and it was in genetics and statistics. Moved to US, went to school again to do my second master's, which was in software engineering. And I had a choice at the time to see if I have to do a PhD or do something with data and engineering. I chose the second path, and as you will see a lot of diverse educational experiences that I had, but it was not like something I had a map and I was like going after one after the other to this is what I want to do. This has been a journey, and I made a choice moving to US with a child. I'm like, I would like to really invest and put that learning into technology. So I went to school here in Minnesota, US, did my second master's software engineering. I started my journey there in the US in a new country with a child. And during my second master's, my second son was born, my second child was born. And it's interesting that it was the summer when I had the baby. I finished my exams in May. My son was born in June. I went back to school in August. And, it just, life continued as I was building my educational experiences and my career. Um, After my second master's, joined Target Corporation, a really famous and a great retailer in the US. I started my career as an individual contributor, was there for 14 years, I learned a lot, learned about technology, business, moved around, and it's a great experience which really helped me to grow as a person, as a leader, and also it helped me to understand the business really well. So when I was at Target, I did my third master's, an MBA. And the reason for doing that is I used to be a very perfectionist in the technology, science, and math. And I'm like going for more and more of perfection. And I thought being in the data space to have the big picture, understanding the business really mattered. So I thought, maybe going back to school to understand the holistic business perspective, the overview, etc. And that propelled me to go to school again. I got an MBA, and it really changed how I started looking at things. It's basically telling me to be like, progress over perfection. There are different points of view. There's no one right or wrong answer. So it really, really helped me to talk to the business, understand the business, and bring in the technology solutions into life. And then I also started exploring on what really is important to my life and my career and my family. And I took a big step to go into the healthcare industry. I joined United Health Group. I led the data science and personalization initiatives over there in the Medicare and retirement space. And it was such a great experience learning about the healthcare business, how data and technology could make a difference in somebody's life to have a healthier life, and how we could really make an impact. Then the journey continued, and then took an opportunity at Alight Solutions for a short period of time where I got the global experience of leading the team of 400 plus all over the world and looking at the complexities and challenges that come when we are looking at it at global level complexities or whatever we are looking at. It's a much bigger lens. Now here I am at Coca-Cola. I lead the data for the company, and I am responsible for the data engineering, the platforms, data science, analytics, and everything that we could do to help the business move forward with data and technology. So, um, this is a little bit about my journey. And if you ask me, have I had mapped it all when I started? No. When I was in school or even during my second master's, I didn't even know this is the career I would be landing into. And I tell this to my kids too. Like, you never know what your job would be 10 years from now, or even the way we are advancing is evolving every single day. So, reflections. So, after this, maybe if you want to move to the next slide, um, I may not able to see the slides, but hopefully you are able to. Yeah. Okay. Key reflections. We all have multiple things to do in our lives, and it is about the balance. So, one thing that I would love to share as something I practiced, and where my husband, a key partner in my whole career growth and life, was instrumental in this whole thing. The story I would like to share here is we play with many balls, our priorities. I would put our priorities as juggling balls. There are crystal balls, there are rubber balls, all sorts of stuff in our life. What I and my husband, we both always talked about is what are our crystal balls. We had a very clear understanding on what do we want to call as crystal balls. The reason is, as you are juggling with different kinds of balls, you don't want to lose your crystal ball to fall down and break. Um, a rubber ball can come back and you can catch it, and it's no big deal, right? So it's important for us, and what we have practiced and we still do is to define what is important in our lives. For us, it's family and health, and obviously other things are there. For example, work or career. um, I have chosen, and I put it as a rubber ball. If it falls, I can pick it up, it will bounce back. But my family and health and some of these things, integrity, values, super important. Those are the crystal balls. I always like to, keep that in back of my mind. Other thing is to lean in, ask for help, take help, but be strong. And it's nothing wrong in asking for help. And a little bit of, the reason I bring this up is my mother did not work. She was staying at home, running the family so well, taking care of all of us. And she has been a role model. And I try to do it all the same way. And um, I am doing way more than what my mother did. So it's about not being, okay to be not to be perfect, leaning on with family, your spouse, or whoever to help you in the journey, because life continues no matter what. And few things I did learn is to take help and be okay to say if it's not as perfect as the way I did it or I do it, and be okay with that. So, for example, I share this, it's simple things like loading the dishwasher or putting the laundry. Everybody has a way to do it, and it's okay if a person who is helping you is doing in a different way. And that's where I think the nimbleness, the agility comes in. And I learned that it's okay to not to be perfect, and break your own rules and move forward, and get things done. So that's something which I take as super important. And also things like we navigate through multiple things in our life, and we need to have that constant force of motivation and inspiration coming through. And there are things that you feel like, oh, I don't want to do this. Let me stop and pause. But it's important, especially for a woman, a new mom, to leave the child and go to work. How do we do that, right? Um, it's so important to say that your child will be okay with somebody else, and don't let the foot on your accelerator come off. um, Life is not sequential. I had raised my children while I was at school and went to work, did it all. And it's about like getting that constant motivation from whatever you see is important. So um, that's where I have learned to be humble, be vulnerable, leaning in for support and help, but be strong. Be clear with what you want to achieve. So that is something which I continuously been working on it. And another great thing I have done is an example is I read a book called Break Your Own Rules, and I would encourage you all, if possible. I think it was Jill Flynn, if I'm saying the name correctly. I held that book closely for almost 6 months, I would say, and it made me to evaluate every single thing I was doing. Is it because I'm doing it because I was told to, or am I doing it because I want to, or am I doing it because I need to? I questioned every single thing I have done and broke so many rules that I have had in my head. Something that came culturally, something which was like the normal norms, and then some things that I put for myself. So it's again everybody's formula on what you want to do and how. Um, So maybe if we want to just move to the next slide, I want to give some examples. What really, when I reflect and said, what made me to move forward? What is the most compelling thing that I enjoy, or what makes me to move forward and do my day to day? I think they boil down to three things: curiosity, purpose, and the continuous learning. I would like to share a couple of examples, one personal and one professional, which all the three themes came together. I think it was in early 2012, 2013 timeframe. I got to hear in India that there is an initiative to help poor and marginal farmers. Typically, it's like a half an acre or less than 2 acres of land. They don't have a lot to do with the wisdom on once they have the produce, whether they should sell it or hold it so that they can get a better price. So there was an initiative with the World Bank with a collaboration with the University of Agriculture Sciences in India, Bangalore. And I coincidentally got to hear about it, and I thought there's something that I could do to help. It's just a curiosity and the purpose. I would say it's more of the purpose. I thought I should do something to the community. And I also mentor students, science students, high school especially, who wanted to do science research or use data or technology into that. So I brought that student in. We went to India. We understood how it's being done, how farmers make decisions, and we built a price forecasting engine um, using the then upcoming the market trends and the data to say what is the price going to look like in the next 6 months or a year. Is it worth waiting to get a better price, or should they sell? So we built that algorithm, and that was such a phenomenal experience where I did not have a clue about what data, where it is, how do we do, but just the purpose that really to help the decision making of those poor farmers. We did a project. I helped the student, the high school student, build the algorithm. We did the price forecasting. It really, really helped the farmers. We could see later that, and we expanded the models to much more larger variety of commodities. That was a great experience, and I thought it would be a good example to share on. It doesn't have to be something that it may be a career move or a change, but it's just your drive on your passion to do and make a difference. A couple other examples at work as well. So when I was at Target, We have those Internet of Things. It was in 2015, 2017, that time frame where we had all assets, all the 1,800 stores internet connected. And there were some ideas on, could we do fault detection of these equipment? Could we do the electricity consumption and maybe write back to the machines appropriately to make sure that we are not hitting the peak loads? So it was a new area that was unexplored, and a new territory. So I spearheaded that effort, just the curiosity and the purpose on, like, we are going to help create a better experience and cut down the costs. And these are the drivers. And we don't even know how all the technology would work. Working closely with the engineers, the HVAC systems, the refrigeration, the electricity. We did a beautiful algorithm which would be able to do the predictions and write back to the machines automatically. And it's a continuous learning experience. But what drove is just the curiosity and the purpose on why we are doing it. I have a lot of examples like that, but what I would like to share is there should be passion or something that you are interested in, and that's when it starts. It could be work, it could be personal, it could be community, so anything. So that's my experience, and I thought if I reflect now, that made a huge difference to what I am today. Um, I would probably switch a little bit to the next segment, maybe to the next slide. Um, and women in tech. So why are we here? Why are we talking about it? And what is the need to have that community coming together to share our experiences? So I think, like the way I experience, and I still, a lot of you may be the only woman in the room talking about a complex topic or a problem to be solved. And I would say majority of my career has been in that place where I'm the only woman in the room. And it didn't really bother me, but it's not about us always, right? So it's about how people perceive you, how people listen to you, or how they basically make conclusions based on what you say, how you say, a lot of these things as well. Um, and we all know the value of diversity of thought. And when we have the people in the room, what I have learned to do is to do a lot of homework. So, and many times there will be people in the room who are very loud. They want to be heard. Some people are like soft and quiet. They may not say much, but you need to choose where, how you want to be. And the style really matters. Asking questions as well as respectfully and professionally stating your point of view is super critical. Some may think, even if the same message is given by a male to a female, people perceive it differently, right? So some of those styles and adjustments, adapting is a continuous process, which I'm still practicing.